All right. Hello, everyone. And we are here back at it again with another episode of the Director's Table. Today, I am joined by the incredible Joe Sorrentino. Hello, hello, sir. How are you today?
I'm doing well, Athena. How you doing tonight?
Doing great as well. There is no rain today, so I'm extremely happy.
We had some of that in New Jersey, but it's starting to be nice the next few days, so we'll take it.
There you go. That's what I like to hear. Perfect. So let's go ahead and kick it on off. Let's go ahead and let everyone know what state you are from. What's the name of your club?
Sure. So, again, Joe Sorrentino. I'm out of the great state of New Jersey. We created the Garden State Cornhole Alliance in 2022, and that's when we joined forces with the ACL and been running some of the biggest and best events in our area. It's been a long ride, a fun ride, and I'm excited to talk to you guys tonight.
That's wonderful. Now, with your club and everything, what sort of got you started? Did you start as a player? Did you just decide one day that you wanted to start a cornhole club?
So I work in education, and we all know in 2020 everything shut down, and I was always coach, busy, work, multiple different jobs in the schools, and when everything shut down, I had nothing to do. No live sports on TV, and I was watching old episodes of ESPN, and one day I turned ESPN on and I saw cornhole, and I was like, "Is this serious? Like something we played at tailgates at Jets games and graduation parties, whatnot?" But I saw it and I got hooked, and I was watching it because the player actually ended up being from New Jersey. That was Jimmy Humans, and he was partnered up with another guy, Andy Noyes, and they hit some incredible shots to win that match, and I was immediately hooked. I had a set in the shed and kind of just started playing around, and that's how it all happened.
It's incredible. And I love that you say Jimmy. So, fun fact, Jimmy Humans, my child is obsessed. One of his favorite people on the planet. Every time he attends an event, he has to have his honorary picture with Jimmy. Jimmy's incredible. Gave him a signed jersey, and from that moment on, I mean, years ago, now he's getting close to being as tall as Jimmy, but I mean, he was probably up to his hip at the time he saw him, and it's the coolest thing. So I love that, Jimmy was the one that you were able to watch and ended up being sort of local towards your area. So that's pretty incredible.
Yeah,
Now,
and speaking of him real quick, though, I heard he's been in the gym, so those arms might be a little bigger.
oh man, I don't know if we can handle bigger arms for Jimmy
I don't
Humans.
know.
That's pretty scary there. I don't know. He can wrap his whole arms around France since he's going back. I just saw his
Yeah.
post, I believe. So that is going to be incredibly exciting. And how cool is that? Did you ever think that you'd see, the game, even with that, with Jimmy playing on television and then you at home watching, now directing events, and now you see that exact player just going off to France to play cornhole.
It's pretty amazing. Like I said, this ride started in the backyard. Two guys to kill time turned into four, turned into 12, turned into 20. An American Legion down the road from my old house was struggling. Doors were closed. They weren't bringing any money in, and we started running the legal cornhole in their hall, and we kept that American Legion alive. And it was backyard, but as time grew, I did so many field trips and educational big events, and that's what I treat this as. And it just came natural, and we grew and we grew. And when you see the best organization on ESPN, you get the chance to work for them, you take it.
That's wonderful. Now, with that, then, saying, the ACL on ESPN, how was your investigating when you were becoming a director? What kind of led you towards the ACL? Was it because of ESPN, or what did you search looking for us?
I saw the way it was being done, and the funny part in New Jersey, every ACL state director's name is Joe. I am the fourth one. And I saw how the other Joes did it. And as it was growing, there was more of a need. It was, the halls and the places were fitting 12 sets, 14 sets. And the events were getting bigger and longer. And I don't know, when I had the chance, I thought I could really make a change. And I hope I did to New Jersey. And again, like I said, working for, the American Cornhole League, that's a dream. That's how I got started. I saw it on TV, and that was the big time. And once we got there, it was we fell in love, and we love what we do.
That's really good to hear. And For someone who's, definitely a state director, and you 100% have had such an impact. I love watching, everything that you guys are doing over there, your live streams, your posts. You make it very, very fun. And I love that you are also not camera shy. I'm obsessed with your video that you did last season, and you're just kind of strolling through, showing everyone what's going on. And it was just so exciting and so impactful because so many other people from other states also saw that. And I feel like that sort of kicked off a little bit of momentum to really get directors to start showcasing what they're doing, but also not being too camera shy, not just a photo, but a video.
Yeah, well, I get so many questions like, how did this happen? And just people that I work with and old friends and family. So when I get an opportunity to showcase, because I'm going to tell you right now, and all these directors know, setting up 30 sets of boards, renting a facility for almost $10,000 for the weekend, it's nerve wracking. And then when you get it set up and it looks so beautiful and it's ready to go, it's a good feeling. And my team actually is the one that pushed me to start, making those videos. Guy Rick on my team, so far, these guys, you know, near and dear. My buddy Jay on the live stream with Carl and another Jay. My team's amazing, and I like showcasing what we pull off because, like I said, very small events in New Jersey, and we're renting out casinos in Atlantic City and filling them up. It's an accomplishment, and I like showing people what it's all about.
Yeah, it really is, especially on the back end, like you said. You're hauling tons of boards, score towers, tablets, and needing help. I mean, the one thing I've told players and just anyone time and time again is there is no way that one person can do it all, and
No.
it takes a team 100%. And so, same thing. Players out here are just incredible, and directors. If it was not for the directors in Arizona, and everybody, every single one of them, every single club has, some involvement in everything that we do. And if it wasn't for them, our state championships even wouldn't be what it is today
Yeah.
if it wasn't for the help of everyone. Now, leading into that, do you also see yourself getting additional assistance from sponsorships? Do you have anyone, special that you would want to give a shout out to that's maybe helped you from the beginning, or that you consistently sort of reach out to?
Well, the beginning, I have the shirt on Fairview Cornhole out of New Jersey.
Oh,
I lived on Fairview Avenue, and those guys there that came every Thursday night and played outside, that's where it started, and a lot of them stayed with me. Two of my best friends are the ones that helped me run all my tournaments. Like I said, without
amazing.
Jay and Carl, this isn't what it is, and we got a great team with us. Um, like you said, it's a lot. You're unloading the trailer. First of all, you're driving the trailer, you're unloading it, setting up these events. It's just you can't do it without the team, and the team's been there for me. And we've had some great sponsors over the year. Cornhole Scenario has been amazing to us. Anthony Kissel with All Cornhole and BG has been a great guy to us. Wicked Cornhole, Bruce back in the day, rest in peace. He was amazing. Sean Haley introduced me to him, and we bought all our first sets of boards from him. And they actually just had a really young guy, good guy, take over. So Wicked's another company that I like to shout out. But my advice to these directors: reach out, build a relationship, and show them what you could offer. Show them some data. How many people come to your tournaments? How many people see your posts online? Because it's really not about trying to get money for events, because a lot of people think that's what the sponsorship is. Just that working relationship where, you get a few sets of bags, you get a few boards off, cheaper, anything to help build your um anything to help build your business. I mean, I have a trailer that's massive, full, and it didn't happen overnight. This happened with a lot of relationships, hard work, and trying to run big tournaments.
Yeah, 100%. And especially when you say relationships, that's exactly what it is, because a lot of these sponsors and even people, every single person that you probably listed is someone that I feel most directors have already, had some type of impact, with them. And there's some of the ones who are constantly just supporting the cornhole community. And that's one of the biggest things with, all of our bag makers, for example. They manufacture the bags, they create custom bags, they're donating, they're sponsoring players. They are some of the, life force of what it is that, we do at the ACL, as well as cornhole as a whole, and a big, big part about growing the sport. So, a good reminder as well, as much as we ask of them, also making sure that we're, saying, hey, here's this site, go to their website, do this. And,
Yep.
sometimes, you get one or two people who maybe never heard of the sport who walk in. That's the first thing that they see, and they see that sponsor, and you can say, hey, they're a great partner. They take care of us. And if you want to impact us and our club and our community, this is where you go. And that impact comes straight back. So it's just like a big, giant, rotating circle with that.
Absolutely. I was taught young, being in education for the last 18 years, you got to build relationships with the students. If a student doesn't like you, they're not going to listen to you. They're not going to learn from you. And that's the way I live my life, and I try to build those relationships. And I feel that when you put good out, it comes back. And like you said, it's everyone helping and supporting each other to lift it up. And last year we ran the Cat Bash. It was an awesome tournament. Just to have the big cat tent, my players were so excited. I had people traveling from 2 states over. So my advice to any director: send that email, send a message. If you have a live stream, offer to put their logo on it. Just little stuff like that builds relationships and can help you build your brand as well.
Yep, 100%. It's everyone working together. Now, with a brand new director, aside from kind of a little bit of everything we went over, is there something that you wish you knew when you first started as a director that you would give advice to a brand new director who's maybe listening to this saying, gosh, is this really what I want to do? Trailers and bags and boards and all of this? What would be some advice you would give them?
Well, this started out as a hobby for me, and I was kind of, at first it is what it is. I'm going to do what I do, and if people come, they come. Over time, you gotta, first thing I would say is listen to your players. My first year, most of our events were in central and northern New Jersey, and the southern players felt left out. To the point where they were, kind of ripping me on social media. And I probably should have kept my mouth shut at times, but I did speak up multiple times. However, I learned from that, and I booked in the South the next season, and everyone was happy. And now we have a very fair rotation between our state. And I always kept that in mind when at first I didn't. So, feel your players out. You can't make everybody happy, but you can make the best decision for your state, for your region, for your crew. That's a piece. Now, another thing that I did when I was a director, I wasn't sure how I was going to hold all my equipment, get it to and from places. I didn't have a trailer when I accepted this position. And I took all the petty cash out of my local league, Fairview, and we bought a trailer. And the first thing I did was I messaged the ACL directors page, and I asked to see some trailers.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of help for me. I looked through probably 7, 8 trailers, saw how they did it, and then I kind of created, the best way for me, which is awesome. So new directors, don't be afraid to hit up that group. Hey, can I help? Can I see some trailers? How do you book an event? A lot of things that are new that come with time. Don't be afraid to ask.
Yes, 100%. And asking the questions is the number one thing. And just like you also said, that Facebook group that we have, it is for all directors. So if you are a director, even considering becoming a director, we have so many resources, and not even just, our Director Resource Center, which has over 60 available resources on it. We have training videos. We have director sessions that we're running very consistently. And then just like that, just post a question and you are going to get some of the best information from some of the most veteran directors out there to, newer directors, to some who maybe just figured something random out that nobody knew was going to be a hit and ended up working out for everyone. Exactly what you're saying with the trailer. There's another really cool post that I liked where someone, they were talking about their tablets.
Tablet charger. That was a great
Yes.
one. Yep.
Yes, that was such a good one. It was so important.
I love when people share good info, and that was cool.
Yes.
That was
That
cool.
one, it was so cool. And I'd never, some of the ways that they were transporting them, some were in Pelicans, some were in these totes. Some folks like, yeah, I bought this off of Amazon, and this piece and that piece. And I have a buddy who makes this. And just seeing the wild, crazy, and just innovative ideas that I would have never thought of, to do that. And, I was very spoiled being able to use a tablet cart for the opens because that's what we get to
Mhm.
use for the larger events. But back at home, you would think, nobody gets open Athena at home. They get sweatpants, t-shirt, every local night they're like, that's what everyone else gets. This is what we get. I'm like, yeah, this is what you get. Sorry, I'm
Yeah.
coming in with, tablets in a bag, lugging stuff. It's crazy. But, it was so cool just seeing some of those things and, just thinking, man, if I would have thought of that, that would have made my
Yeah.
life so much easier.
But also, there's a few things that I saw and I was like, "Ooh," and I added it to my arsenal that, I was
Yep.
able to do it. I wasn't, it wasn't something like you bought 30 boards already, you can't replace 30. It was, I
Yeah.
saw some cool things and I was like, "Well, I'm bringing that on." A new thing we all got into recently is I use Canva. Other people use
Yep.
other platforms, but just enhancing our posts, it goes
Yep.
so far. The social media game, you get the players excited. My first regionals this Saturday, and New Jersey, we've had one pro since I was the director, Jimmy Humans. The year
Mhm.
before I was director, we had two pros. So it was a long drought in New Jersey with Jimmy being our top guy, and we had a lot of guys that fell short in the qualifiers a few years back to back. But now we got eight, and we had fun announcing them and people celebrating them, and people want to compete now for those top spots.
Yeah, that's great. So then would you say that that particular change, which, most people, again, if it's your first time kind of hearing this, our initial run was to just go down to 100 across the board. And that was everything. It was our top 100 and that was it. After receiving a plethora of feedback, especially from directors, we actually had a directors focus group where we asked all these questions, and we also asked players in person and directors, and their first thought was, no, how do we get representation anywhere? And, then thinking on our side, I was going through our list even for Arizona, and I was like, oh man, we're close, we're cutting it close. Who will we have? And, with us being able to make that pivot and listening and doing things like that and making the changes with, the CPI pros and your top in your state, as well as your women, junior, senior, do you think that added a little bit more value? I know you were definitely excited with announcing them, but, what did the players say?
I definitely think it added value. Listen, you're always going to have critics. People that come to our tournaments, they show up month after month. They're there. They like what we do, and I absolutely like the increase from the original 100. I do think that was a good thing. I think it's going to get more players engaged, especially in those different areas. You got your seniors, your juniors, your women's. But those top two CPI spots are awesome. You're competing to be the best in the state. Show everyone you are the best thrower there is. It's based on numbers, and we're going to start announcing that. We're going to start running through, the top three CPI guys and the next three. And I'm going to start including that in all my recaps. I like the changes. I like that the ACL, listen, like we just talked about before, I was recommending to these new directors, listen to your players. You don't gotta change everything for them, but hear them out and make the best decision for the collective.
Yep, 100%. And I think that's one of the biggest things that, we really took to heart, including the open standings. That was something that, lots of players, we received, very neutral feedback with that, and, making that decision to say, okay, you know what, maybe we'll pivot a little bit. Players are upset that they're not receiving regional points. Maybe at this point with the opens, we'll do that. We'll create the separation from the pros to the amateurs. And that ended up being one of the things that we said, okay, well, shoot, now everyone hates that. And it ended up being so much more impactful. But, again, you don't know until you try.
Yeah.
And it was definitely something that we learned as a whole. But what's great is that when we bring something back or we make an adjustment, we do it tenfold. So being able to bring back the open challenge or the open standings with the open challenge is amazing. Now, this is your very first time ever hearing about the open challenge. It is incredibly exciting. This is based off of your overall open standings. Now, you are going to be able to go on to iplaycornhole.com, go on over to the standings section, see where you stack up. 1,000 players at the end of the season, again, 1,000 are going to receive some type of something. You're going to be entered into raffles. You're going to be able to earn all the way up to a world's package to just celebrate you as the number one player. So tons of great stuff. To find out more information, again, just iplaycornhole.com/open challenge. And that is just a way for us to say, okay, you know, shouldn't have done that, but now we're going to bring it back so much better. And for the jersey mark, we actually dropped the jersey on the ACL club engagement page as well. And that's something that we're super excited to be able to showcase. For the PEP program, which is a player engagement, every time you play, you earn something. The director engagement program, which I know you are also very, very good at that one. Do you recall everything that you were able to take home last season with
And
that?
honestly, I didn't even do anything different. It's typically just what I did, and I got a jersey mailed to me, and I got that. I was like, oh, cool. I looked at the program, but again, I got a busy job and business and family, and I when I sit down, I do my stuff, and it just so happened everything I was doing was player engagement, and it was awesome. And I think you guys do a great job with the director engagement as well as player engagement. There are people that you know like that stuff, and it brings them in and it keeps them interested. And people that dedicate their time and show up month after month to get rewarded, it's a good thing. I like trying to reward my players when we can, so I respect it, and I think people do appreciate it.
Yeah, that's really good to hear. And that was the whole purpose behind both programs, was to say, what can we do to also tentatively, give back. And a lot of states, new state directors or regional directors, everyone's trying to figure out something. And as you very well know, and I know as well, when you first start as a director, you're not starting with very much. So a big part of your first couple of years is building to that fill my trailer dream, or to get, everything that I have. And so this was just a way to say, okay, how can we help these directors provide an incentive to their players and say, hey, you can receive these engagement points, you can earn a jersey, you can do all of these just for showing up. You don't have to be number one, but you just have to show up and play. And so this was also a way to take a little bit of pressure off for some states or directors who are just getting started and figuring it out. Now I know that you also run a couple of incentives as well in your
Yeah,
state. Do you want to talk a little bit about those?
absolutely. So in New Jersey, we this was actually new this year. We did top 20 get jerseys. It was a big hit. People really, really wanted them, and I'm lucky enough that in New Jersey we have the owner of Cornhole Nerds lives about 15 minutes from me. So me and him, I should have mentioned it before. He's been with me since the beginning. He's a guy that calls it how it is, and I respect his opinion. And he came up to me last year and was like, "Hey, let's do a collab." And we decided to do the top 20 jerseys, and we're actually handing them out in 2 days at our opening regional of the season. So I'll take some videos and I'll have that shared with you guys. But I just think any way you could get the players in. I mean, I'll give you another example. Whether you buy some bags or you have them sent to you from a company that you're helping out. I set them up on the table, make them look pretty. And, you got a lot of players coming, people that are dedicated. There's no reason you can't give everybody a ticket and say, we're going to raffle these off, especially if you can get them for free
Yeah.
by advertising a company. So just little things like that. I do a bag raffle and a board raffle. So a lot of our dedicated guys, they get extra tickets. You've been to the last 3 regionals here. That's on us. Good luck. And that little stuff makes them remember, makes them want to come back and feel appreciated. It's a good thing.
Yeah, 100%. It definitely is. And with everything that you're doing for the state itself, now are you typically, posting that information out? Where does anyone, if they are in New Jersey and they haven't heard of Cornhole out there, where do they find all of this information?
So we do a lot on social media. I have a
Mhm.
website. There's about I think our number was at 54 clubs in the state. Mind you, there's a state that I could drive top to bottom in 2 hours. Maybe a little more. But we have cornhole everywhere, and it's growing. It's not slowing down. It's actually getting a little flooded, to be honest with you. But that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So to find new people, I mean, people find it my thing is, I believe those spring and summer outdoor tournaments, a local club director does a football team fundraiser, another local club director is doing a town event, another those outdoor events, you're getting players that don't play.
Mhm.
And then sometimes they even let their players in. So now they have some competition and they get hooked kind of like we did. So that's where I see the new growth. Social media is a heck of a tool. You could advertise on Facebook. It's very cheap, very easy. I had a website created 2 years ago, and every once in a while I'll get an email just from a random person. Hey, came across your website, and I will literally find the club closest to them or the two club closest, and I'll say, hey, these directors are in your area if you want to check it out, and this is how to get in the ACL. And we've gotten a lot of new players that way as well. So if you can make a website, very helpful if you plan on trying to grow.
Yep, I agree. That's great advice as well. Awesome. Well, that was definitely a lot of information and some really good stuff. I mean, I love watching everything that you're doing. You are probably one of the, I would say, top 15 directors or so that are consistently on my page just because of how active you are. So you're always popping up on my algorithm. Love watching everything that you do. Love watching any of your live streams. If I can catch one, I do my very best to try to pop it on there.
We have a good stream.
Yeah, you do. It's so fun. I love listening to it.
I got to give him a shout out. Actually, we had a smaller live stream, and I'll never forget. We were running a really big tournament, not the interstate, but we ran one at the Meadowlands where the Jets and Giants play. And I kind of reached out to, I think, the Big Asp. I was thinking about bringing them in and hiring them. And Jay's like, why don't we do it? And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, we could handle that. I was like, oh, I thought we didn't have the equipment. And we ended up buying everything. And probably the best move we've ever made. Our live stream, sometimes we get upwards of 20,000 people watching. It's pretty cool. And we got some good shooters coming this year, and I'll be sharing that live stream on Saturday.
That's going to be great. So, Steve, if you are looking to watch some type of cornhole this weekend, make sure that you do look up Garden State Cornhole Alliance and look for their Facebook page. Is that where you'll be live this weekend?
Yeah. We're always live on the Garden State Cornhole Alliance Facebook page and YouTube as well. But Facebook's the easiest way to find us. And we're looking forward to kicking off this season.
Excellent. I love to hear that. Well, it has been so great being able to get some of your time, and thank you too for making time. I know it's crazy time of the year, kickoff season. You have an event happening this weekend, so shaving off a little bit of time to just share a little bit about yourself, your club, and New Jersey as a whole. So thank you again so much for that. Now, do you have any last kind of words of advice or anything that you want to give before we kick on off?
Words of advice: firm, fair, consistent. That's the best advice I can give you. Be firm in your decision, but be fair, and try to be consistent. Don't flop around. Be consistent. If you say you're going to run a tournament, run the tournament. We had to cancel in my 4 years now. I think we canceled one regional, and the place first year took my money and shut down and never refunded me. He still owes me money, and I'm still texting him for it. But just make sure you do it. Be firm, fair, and consistent with those players, with your tournaments, and you're going to be just fine.
That's great. That's great advice. So again, firm, fair, and consistent. Thank you again, Joe. I appreciate you 1,000 times over. Everyone, we will see you on the next episode of our Director's Table. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. If you're a director and you have tournaments this weekend, good luck and have fun. Players, high five a director, please, this week. Thank you, guys. Enjoy. Bye-bye.
Hey, guys.